Yeah, so let's get into that. How has your relationship with your father kind of influenced you in your writing?
I'm sorry.
Look out.
That was just. Yeah,
Look out now.
that
No,
just kinda
of course.
came out.
No,
I
of
got to hit
course.
you with something.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's why I'm here, sir.
All right. Well, I'll tell you.
So the question for anyone who misses is, how has your relationship with your dad influenced your work and your poems, the way you write, and what plays into those daddy issues? Like, can you explain that?
I can try. I can give it a whirl. All right, all gains.
Let's test the mind.
So, like I said earlier, my father really made the decision for me that I would be a writer. He was very he was very instrumental in all that. He was even condescending about it at certain points in my youth, where like I'd come home with something and I'd have like, you know, the gold star on it, or the fucking the teacher wrote like great job, and I'd bring it home and he'd look it over and crumple it up and just throw it over his shoulder. He's like, you're better than that. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I just came home with some great shit. And you're like, you're better than that.
I see a whiplash.
So it was shit like that would happen, and I'd get mad. I'd get so mad. I'd fucking hate him, and then I'd fucking anger write. I go in my bedroom like, fucking motherfucker, scribble something out. So I mean, yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic. Sometimes it got a little tense. My father had a very interesting approach to raising a child. He told me when I was a kid, he was like, I respect your intellect. I know you have. I know you have the smarts because you came from me, and I'm an arrogant fucking son of a bitch, and I know I'm smart, so I know you got it. So it's like, I won't talk down to you, and I won't pander. I will tell you what's going on. I will tell you like an adult, like a peer. We will speak to each other like peers. And he did. He did that, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. Sometimes kids need to be sheltered from the harsh realities of the world. And you know, he kind of went all in on that. So like there were times where he was like, so I gotta fucking leave town for a little while because I got a warrant out for my arrest. Here's some pizza money. Don't open the fucking door for anybody till I get back. I'm like, okay. Things like that would happen. So it was an interesting upbringing. But yeah, he framed who I am as a writer very much. You know, because he would break down like what was wrong with things I was doing in the early stages, my creative process, and he'd make suggestions about ways to make things more interesting when I'd show them to him. He never did like the dad thing. He was like, oh, that's really cool, that's really good, let's put it on the fridge. He was always dissecting and analyzing and offering me something, constructive criticism or shitty criticism, whichever he felt like doing in the moment. But yeah, so there was a lot of that, and you know, we had a really interesting and unique relationship for you know, my time in the elementary and middle school years. At the end of my time in middle school, we were living with my grandmother at the time to help her because my grandfather had died when I was in 5th grade. My grandfather died. I watched him die. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that shit.
Yeah, I watched him.
Drink to that shit.
I watched him fucking die. It was like 5:30 in the fucking morning, and he's just choking on his own lung fluid from lung cancer, and my grandmother's fucking the whole family's there, and they're all looking at my dad like, why did you bring him to this? Like, why did you bring him here? And he's just so. And then my grandmother just threw her arms over my grandfather, and it's like, if you need to go, just go. And he just stopped breathing. He just shut the fuck down. And I was like, wow, it was really stark.
Yeah,
So anyway,
fucked up.
yeah, that was some shit. But so didn't mean to bring the energy into a weird level there.
It's all good. I love to switch it up.
We're talking about your dad. It's
Sure.
gonna get weird.
Yeah, it's gonna get. Yeah, you invited this stuff. So no, so we were living with my grandmother, and my father, you know, to help her with the bills and help with things like that. That's why we were living there. And my father decided that because he didn't have to be beeline straight home anymore to take care of me, he could get back to indulging in his alcoholism. And he just got dark. He just became mean and dark, and things got ugly. And so I made what I thought was the healthiest move, was to transfer from living with my father to my mother. So I wound up going from living on the Delaware River side of the state to the ocean side of the state with my mother. And things transpired the way they did, and I haven't seen him since I was 17 years old.
Really? I've seen him since he was 17. Is he still around? So do you know?
I have no idea. I've made two attempts over the years to try to see if I can locate him. There was a situation with that side of the family where for many years I kind of didn't want to talk to any of them either. There were situations that transpired when my grandmother died that I felt were in poor taste or tact, and in my adolescent fury, I just went, you know what, just fuck the whole team over there, just fuck the whole fucking team. But with the advent of social media and things, you know, people find you, and I rekindled a relationship with that side of the family, and they don't know where he is either. Nobody knows where the fuck he is.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you're Josh's dad
Please call.
and you're
watching
listening
this.
to this,
I mean, if he searches your name, he'll find you on YouTube.
Oh,
So
jeez. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I was talking to my Uncle Joe about it the one time because I don't see them very often at all. In fact, I haven't seen anybody on that side of the family for a few years. But we're friendly on social media and stuff. But the Christmas tradition on my father's side of the family was that the large Catholic Irish brood would all collect on Christmas Eve and exchange presents, eat, drink, be merry, and then go home. And then Christmas morning, they'd all do like Santa with their kids. So I went to a couple of these Christmas Eves after I rekindled a relationship with them, and I wound up hanging out with my Uncle Joe, both of us very intoxicated. And he was like, you know what I would do if I saw your dad? And I was like, what would you do, Joe? He's like, I'd punch him in the fucking mouth, and then I'd pick his ass up and buy him a drink. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it myself.
Now, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I hope this comes out the way that I want it to, because the whiskey's doing.
I will hit you.
Doing a good thing.
All right.
Now, before
Watch your mouth.
before he went into and delved into intoxication,
Sure.
into alcoholism,
Right.
and he would take your stuff and critique it heavily and throw it around or whatever. Do you believe that he might have been doing that because he felt like he wanted you to be better, because he felt like you could be? He felt like you could be better than him.
and did it work?
100%.
Did it work?
It was totally the motivation. That was 100% the motivation behind it. Absolutely.
Do you believe?
No, when I was younger, like before we moved in with my grandmother, and we were still even cool for a couple years after that. Like I said, it was 5th grade, and then by 8th grade things started falling off the rails. But when I was young, like, we had a great relationship. He always had anger issues. The alcoholism just ballooned
made it worse.
It
Yeah,
just ballooned it. But he was always fucking angry. He's an angry fucking dude. And it's something that I inherited and worked on for a long time. I'm much better now. But yeah, he was an angry guy. But we always had a very good relationship. We had very healthy, open discussions about lots of things. We talk. He'd share art with me and introduce me to stuff. He's always interested in feeding my intellect. It was like his project. It was like I fucked myself. I fucked myself up because I knocked up this girl. She was 20. I was 22. Right. My trajectory completely altered. I wanted to do things this way, but now I got to do it this way because I got this guy. So what I'll do is I'll invest that effort here. So that was his thing. Like, my father was always an arrogant. So switch over to my mother for a second. My mother used to say to me verbatim, anytime we were in an argument about something and I was winning and she'd be pissed off, she would call me a crass, arrogant bastard. That's what she would call me every time. Those in that order. fucking crass, arrogant bastard. You know who you are? You're Chris fucking Barron. That's my father. You're fucking Chris fucking Barron. You know I can't stand him. I don't fucking talk to him. Do I fucking want him in my home right now? Because he's being manifested. He's right here. Joshua. What the fuck? Yeah, crass, arrogant bastard. So my father, you know, when he's crumpling up my stuff and throwing it away, it's his arrogance. It's not saying like, you know, fuck, like you're not doing it right or you can't do better. He's saying, he's like, this is beneath you. This is beneath our intellectual capacity. You're so much better than this. I feel like you phoned it in. Your teacher doesn't understand your potential, is what he's trying to tell me. She's giving it fucking gold stars and A pluses and writing all these, you know, accolades on it because she thinks it's great. But we are better, is what he was trying to throw out there. That's what he's trying to put out. Did I receive it that way? No. I was really proud of that fucking piece, and I was pissed off. But, you know, it was his attempt at trying to relate to me in the same way because, like I said, he was, you know, I understand and appreciate your intellect, so he's thinking I'm on the same wavelength with him. Where, you know, whereas I guess he would assume that if I handed him that and he crumpled it up and threw it away and said like, you're better, that I was supposed to like puff my chest up and go, you know what, Dad, you're absolutely fucking right, thanks buddy. But instead, like, it just fucking hurt.
Yeah,
but like that's where he was, I think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
I think that's what
like that and like on paper is like something that you could really appreciate, like stuff like that. Like it's hard to go through like in real time, but like over time, like you're like, yeah, you know what, he was right for certain things like that. Like I shouldn't just succumb to like a certain way, but I should always be ever learning and be ever
sure,
like, because I know my worth, and I shouldn't, like, it's great to hear great things, like people are saying, oh, this was great, but if I feel that it's not better, then I can do better and I could be better. I feel like probably not best to do it to someone who's maybe like 5 to 8 years old.
Yeah,
maybe not the best. I mean, you could probably word it differently to make it where the message is going through, but it's sounding better. But I feel like on paper, the aspect of it, I feel like is something that you could, you know, at least over time, like be like, yeah, I appreciate that this happened.
Right.
I feel like it's just an over time thing. Like when you're young, it's
no. I
sucks,
think this is to most parents fuck up with the best intentions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I think that's a thing. I think most parents fuck up with the best intentions. Like they're trying to change the things that they see wrong with their upbringing, and along the way they just find a whole new spectacular way of fucking up a person.